Hello everybody, Physics here. Now, if you already watched, or if you plan to watch my League Starter video, you don't really need to watch this video. It's just going to be covering one specific part of that video, and that is why maces are OP in 3.16. I'm just going to be rehashing a lot of stuff I talked about in that video. This is so big, I think it deserves its own video, so I'm going to go over it here. So, maces are OP in 3.16. Isn't that weird? Friendship with axes ended, mace's new best friend. And why is that? Well, first let's cover a few things about axes and why they are not as good this patch. So, first and foremost, Slaughter no longer gets Onslaught for free for just pathing this node for the damage, right? They added Rage to it or whatever, which is cool, I guess. But Onslaught is now way down here in the tree by Hatchet Master. This is a lot more points to get to and is no longer easy access Onslaught. A lot of builds would already kind of like path down into Slaughter, at least for the damage nodes. A lot of people wouldn't go up and take Cleaving, but they would take Slaughter. I don't even remember if it was still called Slaughter in the last versions of the POV. I've forgotten already, but they would always path down to the bottom side of the axe cluster and grab that because it was just really, really good damage. A lot of attack speed, stuff like that. And it had Onslaught. Even on builds I didn't path this, like Gauntlet stuff, I would always anoint this node for the Onslaught. But you don't get it anymore. It's all the way over in Hatchet Master. So that's definitely a blow to axes because you don't get a twofer anymore. Because you're going to want to take Slaughter because of the huge damage increase. But spending another 5 to 6 passive points just to basically get Onslaught is like, ugh, feels kind of bad. So that's a pretty big hit on axes, right? Now, what do maces lack that axes have, and why have people always in the past used axes? Well, basically it comes down to this. Axes typically have better bases. That equates to more damage for free. As anyone who's played PoE for any amount of time and has ever crafted anything basically knows, it's all about the bases, right? Everything matters around the bases. Why would you craft, I don't know, a Scholar's Robe when Vol Regalia exists and Vol Regalia just gets way more energy shield for free? You know what I mean? Same type of deal. So maces historically have always had decently worse bases than axes, and a lot of the axe nodes on the tree were just, they suited themselves better. Again, like free Onslaught and stuff like that. Now, going into 3.16, I'm going to cover the small things before we get into the big things. Seismic Cry got deleted from the game effectively in 3.15. So Earth Chatter now, baby AoEs. Now that's still not a huge deal, especially if you're playing Slam Berserker, which in my personal opinion is like the way to play slams now. Slams did get massively buffed in 3.16, but I still think if you want to actually play slams, you should be doing it on a Berserker, especially since Berserker actually got like massively buffed this league too. Which I haven't seen anybody talking about, but Berserker got hugely buffed. Anyway, so maces, historically worse bases, so less damage. However, if you notice, maces get AoE for free through their notables, and a lot of the bases also roll AoE on them. And then they have like stun and stuff like that, which is whatever, but AoE is huge because now we don't have Seismic Cry, which means we don't get shit tons of AoE for free anymore. So any bit of AoE that we get is, you'll feel it. It'll feel really nice. Now, I always will play Call of Steel, especially after 3.15. I always play Call of Steel with my slam builds. I've always preferred it. It's just clear feels a million times better with Call of Steel. So I'm going to be doing that anyway, but the AoE is needed. It's very nice quality of life. It'll help a lot. Now, that being said, why are maces actually better? Well, because of this new mace mastery. If you don't look at this and your jaw drops, because I haven't seen anybody talking about this, I'll explain it for you. So, as some of you may know, Steel Mage just won the most recent gauntlet, which to date has been the hardest gauntlet in history, because players were relatively at their weakest relative to all the game content, right? And that may, for the foreseeable future, be the hardest gauntlet we've ever had, right? Unless the gauntlets themselves get harder, that is, at least for now, the hardest gauntlet there may ever be, right? Because we're effectively getting quite buffed, or most builds are getting quite buffed in 3.16 relative to 3.15. So as of right now, 3.15 is the hardest gauntlet has ever been. Steel won it with a pretty ZDPS build, but he won it mostly thanks to basically this, which was the secret chill tech in 3.15. And if you don't know what that is, it was using the Soul Taker axe, which people will generally attribute to letting you ignore mana on attack builds, which is, you know, it's good. It's really nice upside. However, the axe also lets your attacks chill. Now, the downsides of Soul Taker, obviously, especially for Steel playing a bleed spectral shield throw build, is he got no damage effectively from the axe. And Soul Taker itself, even if you are attacking with the weapon, it's like an okay starter weapon. It's got decent DPS, but it's like you could craft a much better weapon, or at least a decently better weapon than a Soul Taker. And not being locked into that weapon choice is huge. But effectively in Gauntlet, being able to chill all of the bosses and everything, won him Gauntlet, right? It slowed them down to enough, like, especially if you look at the close calls he had in the boss fights during Gauntlet, if the bosses were not chilled, he would have died, like, straight up. Like, this won Steel Gauntlet. He needed to kill all those bosses to win Gauntlet. And how did he kill the bosses? He killed them with this, with the chill tech, the secret chill tech, right? Now, why is this so OP on maces if it's already in the game? Well, first off, you can use any weapon you want, a better weapon than Soul Taker maybe, and get it for free. But also, a huge thing to note is that chill is an ailment, right? Ailments are based off the hit and the percentage of damage you deal from the mob, correct? So, you think of Steel playing a dot-based build with a weapon that doesn't give him any damage, whereas previously he would have crafted a, you know, like a more dot multi, whatever, bleed, increased bleed damage, whatever, like whatever weapon, it doesn't matter what base it is. It can be like a sword or an axe or whatever, but he'd be using that and it'd be way more damage. But it's based off the hit, right? So he's throwing his special shield throw, which is a dot build. It's not even hit build. It's not a pale or anything. And he's hitting for, who knows, like 50k, 100k, maybe 200k. But he's basically hitting for pebbles. And that chill was strong enough to let him down bosses that he likely would not otherwise have been able to. Or at least made them much, much safer to fight. Now, imagine taking this and putting this on slams, which are like the hardest hitting melee skills in the entire game. You're hitting 800, 900k, a million, right? The effectiveness of the chill is going to be much, much greater than what Steel had in the Gauntlet, if that makes sense. So, effectively, you'll be chilling much, much more. Like the chill will be much stronger, right? In theory. So, you're going into, like, bosses are now much safer. Ignore all the crazy defensive buffs we got this league. If this was the only thing that changed, this alone is a huge, huge survivability boost. Now, will it still be slightly less damage than axes? Yes, it will. But slams are buffed in other ways, or just, in general, things were buffed in other ways. Slams are now stronger than they were in previous patches. But this alone makes up for the damage loss in my eyes. I cannot believe people are not talking about this. This is insanely, insanely strong. One of the strongest nodes on the whole tree by far, in my opinion. It is absolutely nuts, and no one is talking about it. So, if you have any doubts, feel free to leave them in the comments or whatever. Feel free to stop by my stream on League Launch and just see how it's going for me. But I think anyone who's planning to play melee, especially if you're planning to play slams or rage vortex, etc. this league, definitely consider using maces. This is crazy, especially if you're playing hardcore. This is huge. I cannot like overstate how big this is for these builds. I think especially when Gauntlet time comes around, this will be mandatory. Anyone wanting to play slams or various melee builds, I don't know what melee builds you would possibly play in Gauntlet that aren't slams, but huge game changer for sure. Massive, big. Yeah, I don't know what else to say here. I think that's it. I think that's the end of the video. If you guys agree, if you guys knew about this, if you didn't know about it, let me know. Thoughts, opinions, whatever. Yeah, that's it. If you like the video, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. If you like me, maybe consider subbing. I think I got 1 or 2 more videos to make. before league launch. Maybe more if you guys want. I don't know. Let me know if you guys want me to talk about something else. But this is a big one, guys. This is a big one. Anywho, catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.